maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought.
These little men are frightened by the truth. And the truth is this: they have no fucking idea what they're doing. Iran moved the uranium, and we don't know where. We didn't destroy the underground facilities. And whatever ceasefire is in place helps Iran as they continue their plans to attack Israel and possibly beyond.
There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom.
Stop right there. This is what they do. This day-drinking Trump bitch is going to say that the truth is disrespectful to the pilots when the opposite is true. Trump spent $100 million and risked the lives of these men to make himself look strong.
And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce?
Leakers? No, this is important. We're talking about patriots who see the dangers these three men pose. A convicted felon and rapist.
I moved on her like a bitch.
This weak little man who mocked Trump's penis.
If he builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers, he'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it. The second...
And Six-Pack Pete here, who held a woman in his hotel room against her will, then paid her off to keep quiet.
In a 2018 email to her son obtained by the New York Times, Penelope Hegseth wrote, "On behalf of all the women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say get some help and take an honest look at yourself."
These are dangerously dim-witted cuckolds honoring a sociopath who is dismantling our democracy one piece at a time.
And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel.
Is it me, or do these guys feel like they're defending the size of their junk? All macho talk about obliteration and big shovels?
And go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And somebody somewhere is trying to leak something to say, oh, with low confidence, we think maybe it's moderate. Those that dropped the bombs precisely in the right place know exactly what happened when that exploded. And you know who else knows? Iran. That's why they came to the table right away, because their nuclear capabilities have been set back beyond what they thought were possible because of the courage of a commander-in-chief who led our troops, despite what the fake news wants to say.
That was impressive, Pete. I mean, you spoke eloquently for close to 2 minutes with Trump's in your mouth. But then again, you've had a lot of practice.
Do you know, I got a call from Missouri, great state, that I won 3 times by a lot.
Did you hear that? That's a mentally unwell sociopath needing to praise himself first.
And I got a call that the pilots and the people on the plane were devastated because they were trying to minimize the attack. And they all said it was hit. But we don't think it was really maybe hit that badly. And they were devastated. They put their lives on the line, and then they have, and I'm not referring to you, but real scum come out and write reports that are as negative as they could possibly be. It should be the opposite. You should make them heroes and heroines. You should make them really people that they were so devastated when they heard this news. And you know what they said? One of them, I spoke to one of them, said, "Sir, we hit the site. It was perfect. It was dead on." Because they don't understand fake news, because they have a normal life, except they have to fly very big, very fast planes. But it's a shame. You should be making them heroes.
But here's what's what. A preliminary classified U.S. report says the American bombing of 3 nuclear sites in Iran set back the country's nuclear program by only 90 days. His mental illness is profound, but his message is clear. He's a dictator, and you must applaud his every action. But the pilots had no choice. In his characterization of the pilot, "But sir, we did the best we could, and it's not being well received." These pilots are tough. Trump, on the other hand, is an obese pig with orange makeup and a traveling hairstylist. The strike sealed off the entrances to 2 of the facilities, but they did not collapse the underground buildings. Before the attack, U.S. intelligence said that if Iran tried to rush making a bomb, it would take about 3 months. After the U.S. bombing run and days of attacks by Israeli Air Force, the report by the Defense Intelligence Agency has estimated that much of the stockpile of enriched uranium was moved before the strikes, which destroyed little, if any, of the nuclear material. Iran may have moved some of that to secret locations. And Israeli officials also said they believe the Iranian government had maintained small covert enrichment facilities so they could continue its nuclear program in the event of an attack like what happened. Current and former military officials had cautioned before the strike that any effort to destroy the Fordo facility, which is buried more than 250 feet under a mountain, would probably require waves of airstrikes within days or even weeks of pounding the same spot. The Defense Intelligence Agency reports indicate that the sites were not damaged as much as the administration officials had hoped, and that Iran retains control of almost all of its nuclear material, meaning that if it decides to make a nuclear weapon, it could still do it in a relatively short time. But listen to this.
Yesterday you said China can now continue to purchase oil from Iran.
Yeah.
Are you giving up on your maximum pressure campaign? Because
With
there's
who?
sanctions right now.
With who?
On Iran?
No, look, they just had a war. The war was fought. They fought it bravely. I'm not giving up. They're in the oil business. I mean, I could stop it if I wanted. I could sell China the oil myself. I don't want to do that. They're going to need money to put that country back into shape. We want to see that happen. Would it? No. If they're going to sell oil, they're going to sell oil. We're not taking over the oil. We could have, you know. I used to say with Iraq, keep the oil. I could say it here, too. We could have kept the oil.
Trump is less afraid of terror against Western targets than he is of higher oil prices. He's willing to allow Iran to sell oil, thus increasing their chances of financing a nuke, so oil prices stay relatively stable. And that's all you need to know about this guy.
Is there any indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material?
And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. It's called, in many people, they call it dust.
Trump's dementia comes and goes, but it's growing more pronounced and will soon govern all his actions.
Where am I going? Where the hell am I going? I want to get out. Oh.
And of course, that poses a bigger and more frightening scenario.
We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator.
Just this week, he threatened Russia with a nuclear war. Do you trust any of these little boys to stop him?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Goddamn right.
Do you have no shame?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.